Today, I wanted to talk about how a bad environment at work, or a job that you really hate, or a job that you dread going to, a job you're doing because you have to meet the bills, how that will actually hold you back in your life, and also hold you back from losing weight. And I'd like to talk about it from my own personal perspective and a personal experience that I've had in this field. And that was when I had a job. I worked up in London, and it was a very high paying job. So I was very excited when I first got it. I had to go through 4 interviews, and I think I just got to the point where when I finally got the job, I thought, wow, this is just amazing, and it's going to be the start of a new life for me. And financially, it would mean that a lot of the things that I worried about, the bills, because I was a single mother at the time, I thought, that's it, I finally arrived. I don't have to worry about money anymore. And, I found the job of my dreams. But unfortunately, when I started it, the opposite was true. The main problem was the boss, my boss, and he was a really, really nasty man. And I just thought, once I was in it, I'd left my other job, and I really felt trapped. I liked the money. I'm not knocking it. I really was excited about that. But every day, that job really stole my soul. I'd go in with a heavy heart. I'd be totally depressed. It was the type of environment where you had to work from the second that you walked in, and if you left on time, it was frowned upon. So throughout the day, there was this constant pressure to exceed expectations. And I'm not saying that I'm not willing to work hard. I'm a very dedicated person. I'm a very motivated person. But there are situations and people in life that really you've got to finally come to terms that it's not working, that sometimes it is better to walk away than to stay in a situation that's really toxic. And I think this particular experience taught me that, because I struggled with it. I managed to jog along, walk along, crawl along day by day, just thought, let me make it to the next payday. But what that really did to someone who already had a problem with food, it just exasperated it. And I would basically drag myself up to Friday. The week would last like it was a whole year. And just by Friday afternoon, I'd be planning my Friday evening binge, because that was my release. It was what I looked forward to. And it was all I could think about. It was all that kept me going through the week. And it was only, I think, 3 to 4 months in when my boss yet again called me into his office and really had a really massive argument with me, blamed me for the poor performance of my team, things that I had no control over. And I'm not saying that, oh, I was perfect at the job, I was blameless. But when there is constructive criticism, people can adapt to that. I can certainly take it. And I'm happy to change how I work, how I do things. And that applies to my personal relationships as well. But this particular person was a bully. But I think I didn't see it initially. I had fought for that job. I'd had 4 interviews, and I thought I had won a prize. But actually, it turned out to be the biggest nightmare that I could have ever imagined. And this particular day, he basically pushed me to the end. He shouted at me, he swore at me, and I realized that something inside me snapped. And I mean, long and short of it, within 7 days, he got rid of me. And at the time, even though I was devastated, I didn't realize that it was the best thing that could possibly have happened to me at the time. Initially, I was frightened. I left, I think it was on the Friday of that week that he said I had to go, gave me a payout. Even though I was frightened, I realized that there was a part of me that felt a release, that felt like a weight, a huge weight had been lifted off her shoulders. And somehow it propelled me, it gave me an energy I didn't know I had. Even though I was frightened, I can tell you that. But I registered with agencies, and within 7 days, I had found myself a temporary position, which meant that I could keep the devil from the door, I could pay my bills, and it gave me that breathing space that I needed. And really, that experience, that release, taught me that holding on to that job was actually doing me much more harm than letting it go. And the moment I let it go, I was able to release that tension, release that stress, release the self-hatred that I found I had about myself, because I thought I was underperforming, which I didn't want to do. And I realized that it wasn't me. I realized it was the job. I'm not saying that every job you have to take it to this extreme circumstance, but this is really just to highlight there's something, if there's something in your life, if it's your job or anything, a relationship, if there's something in your life that's really bringing you down to the extent that it's affecting you on a daily basis, that you seriously need to consider letting it go. And you know what? When I let go of that job, the binging lessened, the self-hatred lessened, the feeling that I was not good enough, that I was inadequate lessened. And I think it was the pathway to finding that freedom that I was really looking for. And I also found that from that releasing of that negativity, that I began to like myself more and to trust myself more. So the point of this video is really to tell anybody who's struggling in a situation where they're having a daily argument, conversation with themselves about, what am I doing? What the hell am I doing? Where am I in life? I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like I'm going nowhere. I feel like I'm not good enough. I'm urging anyone in that position to say, really look at your environment, look at what you're doing, because maybe it's not you, maybe it's them. And if you've been struggling with this situation for a long time, then I seriously ask you to think about letting whatever is causing you that pain, letting it go. Because it's only once you let go of something like that, can you actually free yourself, can you actually find the energy to move forward with your life and actually find something good by leaving behind the bad.